everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Teacher Yan, your J1 English teacher in the United States. So for this video, I will be sharing with you some pre-interview tips because after all, it is application and the beginning of the hiring season here in the States. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please subscribe. If you haven't, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave your comments and suggestions or questions in the description box below. So again, these are pre-interview tips, so please keep on watching. So there are two kinds of interviews that you will most likely go through. An interview with your sponsor and the interview with your school district. I hope these tips will help you. So tip number 1. Have the right mindset. And when I say right mindset, optimism is the key. You don't go into an interview with a mindset of failure. You don't go into an interview while thinking, oh, I'm gonna suck. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Oh, I'm not gonna know what to say. Oh, I'm gonna get tongue-tied. Oh, I'm gonna get mental block. That is not the right mindset at all. The right mindset is, I can do this. I will do this. Everything will be fine. I'm ready. Let's go. It's easier said than done. But if you really prepare for your interview, being optimistic becomes easier. You get what I mean? But again, it's a mind game. It's a major mind game like everything else. The mind is so powerful. It dictates everything. It attracts things as well. So make sure to have the right mindset before your interview. And that mindset is optimism. Tip number 2. Be ready to stay up late. Especially if you are like me from the Philippines. Our time zones are the opposite. Morning here, night there. So most interviews, since it's done online, happens after class or after school hours. So let's say around 3 p.m. American time. So if you are in the Philippines, 3 p.m. is 3 a.m. So make sure that you are physically ready and mentally alert even if you need to stay up that late or technically early. So early in the morning, if you need to wake up so early in the morning. Either way, make sure that you are physically ready, that you are not too sleepy, you're not too tired, because when you're sleepy and tired, the mind cannot function as well. And the interview is a mental activity. So make sure that you are ready to stay up late or to wake up really early. Tip number 3. Like what I said, time zone. So double check your time difference. Just a little anecdote. This happened to me during my first interview. So my interview was supposed to be 3 p.m. American time. So it was supposed to be 4 a.m. Philippine time. What I failed to factor in was the daylight saving, because my interview schedule falls after the switching of time. So I was just so blessed that I intentionally woke up like 2 hours before my interview schedule or my interview time, because instead of 4 a.m. Philippine time, my interview was 3 a.m. So EPI was literally calling me on my phone. Hello, ma'am, are you ready? Because we don't see you logged in yet. And I was like, isn't my interview supposed to be at 3 p.m.? And then they were like, yes, it's already 3 p.m. because it's daylight saving. And oh my gosh, that really, really scared me. I was panicking, practically panicking. So don't do the same mistake. Double check your time. And just so you know, in 2023, daylight savings will start March 12th. Tip number 4. Look for an interview conducive venue. It can be your bedroom. If you have a study, it can be your study. It can be someone else's house. But make sure wherever you are, you will be comfortable and confident enough to be able to really express yourself and your thoughts. You don't want to be somewhere where you need to whisper because you're so shy that if you speak loud, others might hear you. You also don't want to be somewhere where you need to shout because the surroundings is so noisy. You get what I mean? So make sure that you are or you find an interview conducive venue or environment. That also comes with making sure that your venue has everything you need, especially your internet connection. Back when I was doing it, I had to ask my cousin if I can do my interview in their house because I knew that they had a more reliable internet connection. So maybe you might need to do that. You also need to make sure that your gadgets are all set, charged and everything. Always have a plan B. What if the internet fluctuates or, so make sure that if you're using your phone, your mobile data is also turned on so that automatically if the Wi-Fi turns off, you're still good. You get what I mean? Also, make sure that you're familiar with the platform that you're using. If you're using Skype, make sure that you have navigated through Skype so you know what to do in case of like, oh, we can't see you, oh, we can't hear you. You know where to go, you know what to press, what buttons to adjust and stuff. If you're using Zoom, make sure that the Zoom is installed correctly in the gadget that you're using. You know how to navigate through it. You know how to message, to log in, to join the meeting, to exit the meeting, etc. Just make sure that you are familiar with the platform that you're using so you can create a conducive interview environment or interview venue. Tip number 5, get to know your interviewer. So if your interviewer is your sponsor, make sure that you know some basics about your sponsor. If your interviewer is your school, the school district, sometimes you won't really know. Most of the time, you don't know who the specific interviewer will be, but you can always research about the school in general, the demographics of the school, the community that the school is in and serving, the clientele of your school, because you don't want to be in an interview where you are completely clueless about the background of the person interviewing you. I mean, in general, not the personal background, but like the background of the institution that the person interviewing you represents. So come prepared, get to know your interviewer. Tip number 6, write down your important information. I mean, I know this is your life, this is your teaching experience, this is your career that you will be talking about. These are facts that are about you. But if you have been teaching for a while, you might have been to several schools. You might have taught several subjects. You might have taught different kinds of students. And these are facts that your interviewer, especially if you're in the school level now, they might ask these. What was your first teaching experience? What year did you graduate? Blah, blah, blah. What is the biggest class size you've handled? What are the subjects you've taught? What was the most challenging subject? So those basic stuff that you might forget because there's just too much information. Put them there, write them down in the same way you can review through them and make sure that you do not leave out important information. Tip number 7, prepare questions for your interviewer. At the end of the interview, they will always ask, do you have any questions? So make sure that you do. Make sure that you prepare questions, 1 or 2 questions for them. Because number 1, this is going to show them that you're really interested in them or that you're really eager to be part of their institution, of their school. So you can ask questions like, what are the clubs in the school? What activities are students usually engaged in? You can also ask questions about the class size, what technology do students usually use in the school, what platform does the school use. Don't be shy. You can also ask about the salary. You can be upfront and ask like, what would be the base pay? You can also ask how many loads are you expected to teach, how many classes, things like that. Because again, it's gonna show them that you're really interested. You wanna know because you are imagining yourself as part of the team already. So that's a plus factor. So make sure to prepare 1 or 2 questions for your interviewer. Tip number 8, practice. You won't be perfect, but you would want to practice. I believe in practicing because it conditions the mind more than anything. That's my main reason for practicing. It conditions your mind. I, for one, do not advocate memorizing your answers because the more you memorize, the more you are prone to mental block. Because the moment you use a different phrase or a different word from what you've memorized, the tendency of the brain is to cram. Like, oh no, this is not what I memorized, or what am I supposed to say? Instead of memorizing, this is your story. These are facts about you. Instead of memorizing, know your answers by heart. Every time you practice, make sure you do not sound scripted. Be as natural. You can Google maybe sample answers. I know some of us do that, but as much as possible, don't. I mean, bank on your own thoughts, on your own opinion, on your own experience. But if you really feel like you need an example just to push you or just to inspire you on how to or guide you on how to phrase your question or your answer, do so. But don't get all your answers from Google. Make sure that your answers are from the heart and from your mind. Your own mind and your own heart. Because that way, however they phrase the question, you will be able to answer. So, practice. Practice, practice, practice. But don't memorize as much as possible. Tip number 9. Of course, we're applying for schools in the United States. So, the interview language will be English. Not all of us are that comfortable in expressing our thoughts in English. That being said, our brain might take some time to register the fact that, oops, we're supposed to express ourselves in English, in pure English this time. So to help your brain do that, before your interview, think in English. I forgot which professor told us this tip, but it has really worked for me. I know it was one of my college professors, but I forgot who. Think in English. If you know you're about to speak in English, in pure English or in a specific language, think in that language. While waiting, while practicing your thoughts, think in English. It would also help if a few days before your interview, you bombard yourself with quality English movies, books, read a lot because that helps in your vocabulary and in expressing yourself. So just, think in English so that when the interview starts, your brain doesn't have to shift gears so abruptly because you have prepared your brain to use that language. And last tip number 10, know yourself. Know your whys, know your hows, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. This is your interview. You are selling yourself and you do not want to misrepresent yourself because you do not want to end up in a school that does not fit your personality. I mean, I'm speaking ideally, okay? Ideally, you would want to be in a school that resonates to you. So if you misrepresent yourself, for example, you got all your answers from Google and only 10% out of your answers are from you, your heart, are organic to you. So in a way, you have misrepresented yourself. So if they buy you based on your answers, which weren't yours in the first place, there might be a possibility that you and the school don't really match. You get what I mean? So own it. This is your interview. So make sure that the way you are, the way you present yourself is you. How you are in the classroom, be that. Know your story, Know your whys. Why do you do this? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What philosophy as a person, as a teacher, do you adhere to? What do you feel is your best asset? It's always you. So don't try to be someone else. Even the way you talk, don't try to imitate someone else. Don't try to mimic someone else. Just be you. So be as organic as you can be, but at the same time, be the best version of you. Still you. So those are my 10 pre-interview tips, which have personally worked for me in the number of interviews that I've had. I hope it helps you. If it does, once again, please share the video to your friends. Spread the word. Help me grow our community. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscription. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and join our community. Again, feel free to leave your comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section below. I really do try my best to go over all your comments, everything in the comment section, and reply as much as I can to all of you. So thank you very much. I hope you found this video helpful, and God bless you on your journey. God bless you on your application. If you're still thinking if J1 teaching is for you, keep praying and keep getting sound advices from the people you trust. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.